Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to this Wednesday. It is the Earthmaster on this end with an update video. February 7th, 2024, about 11:33 a.m. California time here. Latest activity is a 3.0 up here in Washington. Now, this earthquake activity occurring somewhat close here to the volcano along the Cascades. It's going to be Mount Rainier. The code, though, right now, still normal. Nothing changing. Just want to look here at the seismograph station, see if we got any type of swarming going on here across the area. Again, this three-pointer just coming in to the southeast area of the Mount Rainier region. Nowhere near the summit area, but let's take a look here and see if we got any seismograph stations that are in operation out here. Kind of hard to find some operable stations on occasion here. Let's see what's going on. Maybe star. That's a tilt meter. Yeah, it's kind of hard to decipher the information here where nothing works. All right, there's the three-pointer coming in south of this station right here. Looking at the past 24 hours show not a whole lot of activity. It looks like maybe there was another smaller one there at some point yesterday. But for now, things look fairly calm and not a whole lot of activity. Small amount of earthquake activity here across Mount St. Helens area. Last year they had a decent earthquake swarm taking place here, but it kind of died off and mellowed out. Now we're just seeing occasional smaller quakes here on any given day. And I got these three quakes here. Two from today, one from yesterday. All right, take a look here at the world map. Anything major going on out here overnight? Well, in terms of earthquake activity, not a whole lot. We did have some movement yesterday stirring up here across the area of the Middle America Trench. Most of the activity today looks like it's scattered across the western Pacific over here, up around the Russia area, the northern edge here of the Kuril-Kamchatka down to about Japan. Seen some earthquake movement overnight. Red circles, of course, on the globe indicating some older movement quakes. The white ones indicating the newest earthquake activity. So we did see a super deep 4.5 here into the Tonga Trench. Look at that, 571 kilometers deep there to start the cycle of earthquake activity across this region. We always see deep earthquake activity here into the subduction zones, and that's followed up here across the plate boundary with some surface adjustment, and of course in some potential for some stronger quake activity. Now, I did see some movement here in New Zealand. Looks like they had a 4.0 and a three-pointer. So let's run over there real quick to the monitoring stations in the GeoNet servers there that monitor the New Zealand activity. See what's going on. 2.3 about 11 minutes ago. 43 minutes ago, it had a 2.7. There is that 3.9 that is south here of the South Island area, but I'm trying to find this four-pointer. Let's see where that's at. Did we not, let's see, did we not feel it? Shows a four-pointer on the globe. There's an hour ago, 3.9, but that's positioned more south there. There's the four-pointer, 4.4 2 hours ago. Really deep here, 175 kilometers deep. That's why no one noticed it. An unnoticeable earthquake reported there. So that earthquake coming in is, well, that kind of looks like it's around the southern edge here of the Hikurangi subduction zone, which sits offshore here of the eastern side of North Island. It does extend right here just above the Christchurch area. You can kind of see where that subduction zone ends right here in the oceanic map here. So that's occurring well deep into this area of the Hikurangi. Aside from that, just looks like some movement out there on the globe today. That's I mean, it looks like a lot again. Last couple days here seems to be a little bit on the elevated side in terms of the multitude of quakes. We're not really seeing any one specific area seeing movement, but definitely looks like it's very active over here across this area once again. We do have a 4.7 coming into the Java Trench area right now. Actually, that looks like it's about an hour ago in the red flag. Pull this one back up, the three-pointer. Well, by the way, there was a little article here put out in regards to the Seattle fault. This one was nowhere near the Seattle fault. Seattle fault's going to be up here. Fairly dangerous fault zone. Anyway, a little article put out here today from news agency KIRO7.com states that a new study could help predict when the next major earthquake might hit in western Washington. Now, they're trying to figure out how the Seattle fault system formed, but they believe it was an island chain which was pulled towards the larger continent about 55 million years ago, ran into the North American plate and split in two, with part of the chain going over the top of the crust layer and the rest getting sucked underneath it. So they claim their study here could help shape understanding of this region for the next generation. This could help scientists more accurately predict when the next big one will hit and how we can prevent catastrophic loss of life and millions of dollars in damage. Anderson says the Seattle fault is capable of causing a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, and that this study helped reveal key secret seismic data that had been previously missed. And of course, all this activity interacts here with the Cascadia subduction zone. Now, they're not saying specifically how they're going to predict it. I don't even see it mentioned in here. It's a little odd and a little misleading here. But we've known that the Seattle fault there can produce a large earthquake. That's for sure. It's been documented, studied quite a bit. But, their wording was we could help predict the next big earthquake. Well, I mean, learning about the origins of this fault system, I guess, 55 million years ago may help them figure out maybe where the stress is coming from. I don't know. It's a little misleading article, but they did put that out. Seattle fault is fairly quiet for now. I believe this fault system is a little bit more dangerous in terms of location, proximity out here to Seattle, because it goes right underneath Seattle, right? Imagine having a 7.2 directly underneath Seattle. That would be catastrophic. Now, a 9-pointer over here along the Cascadia, that would definitely shake things up out here, but I think localized, a 7.2 would do more damage specifically to this area compared to a 9-pointer, which would be offshore. There's no doubt there'd still be a lot of shaking and damage, but local to the Seattle area, 7.2 would do more on that fault system, just because of proximity right there in that area. All right, what else we got here? Anything else going on here across the world? We didn't really cover California. Let's see what we got going on down here. 3.5 underneath the Lake Almanor. Well, that looks like it's outside the Lake Almanor area this time. A lot of times we'll see some movement, quakes here underneath the lake. But 3.5 earlier this morning. As far as the rest of California goes, I'm trying to dry out here, but we got another storm system coming in. Looks like that will keep us somewhat moist and wet in terms of the ground water level out here. It's kind of not really soaking in all that great. Everything's soaked, soggy, so to speak. Southern California here, we don't have a whole lot of movement. Looks like most of the activity here across the San Jacinto fault zone. Still waiting to see if this rainfall that they've seen down there in Southern California will activate any of these faults. Further movement up in Idaho. This activity here in Yellowstone is from yesterday, but let's see what we got going on here. Just to double check, make sure, reassure that the data is properly being reported, and it doesn't look like a whole lot of earthquake activity out here. Things look fairly calm across the seismograph stations for now. They're in Yellowstone. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, New Madrid seismic zone. I believe most of this activity here, well, aside from down in Pecos, Texas, I think this activity was from yesterday. This one up in Kansas looks to be from late last night as well. Lincolnville, Kansas, 2.4. So most of the activity today, anyway, down there across the Pecos, Texas region. Out in the oil fields, getting hit pretty strong there. Hawaii, got anything major going on out here? Looks like earthquake activity is mellowing out here slightly. Let's go over and check out the latest information statement here from the USGS with regards to Kilauea volcano. The current update, let's see what's going on here. This was put out yesterday, and basically they're stating that everything's kind of leveling off right now. The intrusion event there that occurred from the summit to the southwest rift zone appears to have slowed, indicating that this could be just the likelihood of an eruption has decreased. But still, that all that intrusion went somewhere, right? A lot of magma down there. Let's take a look at some of these graphs and see what's going on. Deformation data. There's our past 2 days of the summit region. Taking a little dive. Deflationary event here recently. Overall trend, though, there's where we lost all the magma from the summit region. That shifted to the southwest, created this huge deflationary event, and now we're just kind of leveling off. I really don't think this is over yet with terms of potential eruption activity. Let's see what we got for the seismograph stations down here. We're getting a lot of spiky activity once again. This is 2/7, right? 1800 UTC time. We're off by about an hour, it looks like. Almost coming up on 2 hours right now, but this is recent. Definitely more so than it was last night. Last night we lost, there's quite a few hours, 7 hours of data that was missing. But this here looks like it's somewhat up to par. Definitely seeing some earthquake activity, I would say, right? Look at all that. It's a lot of earthquake activity. USGS, though, only reporting a handful of quakes out here across the area. This seismograph station I'm looking at is right about here. These guys only showing about 21 earthquakes. But looks like there's a little bit more than 21. So we're still kind of watching that. And that's this seismograph station that's hidden behind this camera. And by the way, the camera out here looks like a beautiful day out there on the Big Island. Beautiful blue, clear skies. Is today's date. Local time there. Don't see any signs of an eruption. But still got all that magma underneath the area. That had to have gone somewhere. It just didn't disappear into thin air. See this seismograph station here. This one's showing some of that activity as well. Not quite as much because it's not really localized to where the area's seen all that earthquake activity down here. So we'll continue to watch it and report back on anything that changes out there. But for now, just kind of neutral. Now, Iceland here, definitely seeing a little bit of elevated earthquake activity north and south here across the rift zones. Looking at 85 earthquakes here in the last 12 hours. A lot of that near the Grindavik area and northward here across the region. Now that's quite the uptick compared to yesterday and the day before. So let's see what we got going on here across the Grindavik area. Check out, see if they put anything out as far as a newest article, recent article. This one was put out a couple days ago. They're still chatting about the ongoing magma accumulation beneath the Svartsengi area. And the likelihood of an eruption could be within about 2 weeks or even possibly days. So, elevated earthquake activity, got to keep an eye on that. That can have a telltale sign of some fissure activity opening up here soon. The Svartsengi area inflation chart still continues to show elevated activity. We did have a little dip, but overall trend is still on the inflation side there in the region. And if we look at our local areas, as far as individual stations here, I'm going to go down and check out the Grindavik area. Grindavik right here still shows up to this date here elevated activity there across the Grindavik. This is the up displacement, vertical displacement. Does show that inflation continuing. So got to watch that. Definitely seeing a little bit more elevated earthquake activity than we have seen here in recent days. And we are coming up on pretty close to that 30-day time period here, about another 7 days or so in between these intervals between the December event and then the January event here. We had about 30 days. Could potentially be following that same type of time frame. But either way, earthquake activity on the elevated side out here today across the Grindavik region of Iceland. Philippines area over here, a lot of this from yesterday. We did see one more earthquake. That's going to be a 4.5 down here, fairly recent into the Java Trench. But overall, Seismic activity elevated, as we see here on the globe, quite dynamically spread out all over the place. You guys see that? Normally it doesn't look like that. That's definitely a lot of earthquake activity here. All right, and then out in the Indian Ocean, we've got some activity stirring up. Nothing being reported here from the USGS map. But there's a couple earthquakes there on the globe in the divergent boundary out here across the Indian Ocean. 4.7, 4.7 out in the mid-Indian Ridge. It's going to be this area out here. Look at that fracture zone. You can see them out there on the crest. Pretty neat looking. Separation of the seafloor, so to speak. All right, what else we got? Mediterranean, a little swarm going on up here in, where is that, Romania? Let me get a better view of that. We'll go over to the EMSC model, see what's going on here. Looks like a decent swarm kicking up there in that area. Looks like it's on the crest of these mountain ranges. Okay, it's northern Italy. A couple of threes and whatnot going on out there. Yep, interesting. So we'll continue to watch that maybe for some further movement here. There's a little 3.1 further up the road. Let's see where that's at. That's going to be this one right here, I believe, into the English Channel. But yeah, looks quite active out here, folks. Definitely active. And let's see here. I know USGS didn't report any of this, but it looks like we got a swarm going on here in the Gulf of California. Kind of missed that when I'm looking at this, right? The USGS only shows the limited amount of earthquakes out here. When we've got a swarm going on out here, it's a little noticeable on the globe. 4.4 from yesterday, but it does look like we've seen some further movement out here today. So we'll continue to watch this area here across the Gulf of California. Look at that bunch of forest stirring up out here. Really no effect at all across the west coast, but with this activity continuing here, might want to keep an eye up along the plate boundary for some further movement. Southern California fairly quiet for the most part. But yeah, a little swarm going on there in the Gulf of California. One oddball earthquake here away from the Pecos, Texas swarm. A little 2.3 coming in here. Let's see what we got out there in the satellite imagery. Ooh, yeah. Lots of little camping sites. Nope. These are wastewater disposal facilities and ponds, and you can see clearly the tanks out here, the holding tanks. A lot of oil fields out here, so looks like the North American plate is underneath a little bit of strain out here with these oil fields getting hit. All right, space weather activity. Let's jump over that real quick and see what's going on. It's raining out here right now again, California. We'll get to that here in a second. So it looks like we've seen another M flare here recently, somewhat of a low-grade M flare. That's going to be right up here. Looks like an M1.3. Yep, 1.3 right here. That is coming off of a, let's see, it almost looks like, there's that 5.1 from yesterday. Probably more than likely from the departing sunspot or this huge sunspot region right here. It does look like it's currently flaring. See that little bright feature? That is a sign of some flaring going on. So more than likely that is the culprit sunspot that kicked off that little M flare just now. 3576. 3575 was the source of that M5.1 yesterday. That is a little bit more off on the horizon here of the sun. Can't really see it all that much, so that's going to be disappearing here very soon. And we're left with this region. That is a huge sunspot, and it's got quite a bit of different cores in there. I think this one's gearing up to maybe pop an X flare. We do have a 25% chance of an X flare, mainly from, I believe it's that sunspot region right there, 3576 and 3575. So 3576, this one right here, the one that's got a little bit more of a potential of seeing some X flare probability. This one over here, even if it did produce an X flare, it's out of sight, out of mind. This here is almost directly looking at us. So if it were to pop off a large CME, it would almost be certainty Earth directed with a bullseye shot. So got to watch that. Again, a lot of center cores out here, showing some major complexity. That does harbor definitely some potential for some X-flare activity. And that region is a beta gamma delta class structure in their magnetic field. Those are the ones that do pop off some X-flares. So keep an eye on 3576. It is definitely currently looking a little on the scary side for terms of some larger activity. There's a visible disk out here. Awesome. Beautiful growing structure. We'll watch that here today over the next couple days. Like I say, I wouldn't doubt it. We see some X-flare activity from that sunspot region. Right now, not a whole lot of hope in terms of aurora activity, but if we could get an X-flare, maybe even a large M-flare with a subsequent CME, this forecast could change here in the days ahead. But for now, things are fairly minimal across the board. Into the weather department here, California, still seeing some thunderstorm chances out here from our newer storm that's coming in today. Really no severe weather threat, but we are getting a little bit more precipitation out here. It's raining here at my house outside of Chico. This is all going to move in today and head down to Southern California over the next few hours, bringing some more rain down there, but nothing like what they just seen down there. And we got a little break out here across the West Coast for a few days until looks like some more storms coming in as we head deeper into February there. So we'll continue to watch that. All right, folks, have yourself a good day. Stay safe. Little earthquake coming into the Philippines right now. That is, let's see if it's showing up yet on the globe. Looks like a 5.2 right now coming in as we speak there in the Philippines area, just south of the Philippines there. That is that earthquake showing up right there, I believe. 1952. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's, hold on a second here. 1950. Yeah, see that? 1950. This is showing 1933, so this is an older quake. But it looks like there's something newer coming in there. See that? A little bit newer activity. I don't believe that's at 5.2 because the time is not matching up out here. All right. Either way, we'll catch you guys back out here tonight. I got a bunch of schoolwork I got to catch up on. Have yourself a good day and stay dry if you're out here in California. Catch you guys later tonight. Have a good one.